Welcome to the channel. This is a review of a TV show currently streaming on Apple Plus that I really enjoy. The series is Silo, and it's into season 2, and this is going to be a review or breakdown of episode 2. So, just as a little tiny recap, episode 1, Jules, who you see here in her suit, is or was kicked out of um, Silo 18. She managed to make it over the hill because of you can see the tape on her wrist here. They substituted the purposely defective tape for this good tape. That's why you hear them often talking about supply and things are good in supply and the tape. This is the tape that they have. I don't know why they just use something as simple as tape to seal the suit, but anyways, they do. Anyways, she made it over the hill and discovered all these bodies and found the doorway into the silo next door, one of the silos, because she's actually surrounded by silos. There are 50 in total, which they talk about in the series. Um, but she finds the door to silo 17 jammed with all these bodies and makes it into the silo itself and is able to seal the door from the outside. Or she seals it, but to keep the outside atmosphere out. At that point, though, because you can see there really isn't much of an air pack on the suit, she has to smash her way through the helmet to let air in. And once she does that, she does a bit of scavenging, discovers an area where there's lots of lights, and unfortunately, it's separated because somebody has destroyed the bridge over to that area. So it's funny. Like one of the things about this is that the series, the characters are written well, even though Juliet or Jules, as most people call her, is a very she's the main character almost in the show. There's lots of other characters. Bernard, I would say, is also a main character, but a lot of poorly written shows have what they like to refer to as girl bosses, where they have somebody that's ultimately very powerful or can accomplish everything, but all they ever do is tell you how powerful and wonderful they are. So this show actually has people tell you how good Jules is, which she is, um, but it also shows you. It justifies these statements that she's so great because you see her having to figure out how to get across the gap. She tries one method with a rope, and we believe, gets cut. Tries a second method of setting up a small bridge. Yeah, I know it falls apart, but just getting it together with limited tools is pretty good. And then finally, she gets a more substantial bridge across. At that point, she hears music and gets to a big locked door with a keypad and finds out there is actually somebody else in the silo. So that's where they leave off episode 1 with her discovery that she's not alone in Silo 17. There was some hint of that when she found the rope that she was using looked like it had been cut. The question is, did this guy cut it, or is there somebody else in the silo? So, Silo 2 or episode 2, which is what this video is really about, steps back a little bit. So, it starts off with Bernard, the head of IT, looking at a wall screen, and he's able to, because um basically the screen or the viewport of the helmet that she's wearing here is actually just a screen, so they can control what she sees until she gets far enough away that the signal gets cut off. So uh, she goes from stepping out into environment when she first gets dumped outside, that is, she sees as being desolate, to an environment which she sees as being full of green grass and birds and butterflies and everything else, to back to this. Although you would think that if it's distance limitation, then how is Bernard able to see what she's seeing when she goes down into Silo 17? Anyways, She will get into the silo in episode 1, and in episode 2, Bernard is watching her go in, and then all of a sudden he hears alarm bells going off in silo 18 where he is. So he turns around, shuts it off, or calls for it to be shut off, the video from Jules' helmet, and he pulls open the book, the Pact. They call it something else besides the Pact, but it's like their Bible. So in the first page, you can see at the top of the page, it says, uh, preparations for a failed cleaning, prepare for war, kind of thing. So this book is actually like an instruction manual for the heads of IT. Sorry, that's a bit of a spoiler, but I have read the book series that this show is based on, and this Pact book, this book that you see him using, is an instruction manual created by the founders. They kind of will go into that a bit in the series in further episodes. But anyways, he goes running out of the room that he's in and shuts the door, and actually you can see as he's leaving the area that he was watching Jules, the door is exactly the same as the door in Silo 17 that the guy is behind, and it's the same keypad in the wall. So obviously the room that Bernard is in watching the video feed from Jules's helmet is exactly the same place that the guy in Silo 17 is hiding in. So that's something new. We get a bit of a view what's inside there. It is actually IT, and that's why Bernard is inside. You can kind of see even as he's running away, running out of the room, you can see this row of sort of servers, and they're all, of course, in good condition. But you can see in Silo 17, Jules, when she goes up to the door, just some of the blue lights, some of the damage, but most of the servers look like they're damaged or something like that, or falling apart. Anyways, as I said, they sort of regress and go back into what's happening in Silo 18. Bernard comes out and he's got their armed guards. Well, they're not armed, but are they have armor and helmets and stuff to see what's going on, and it's kind of panic because Jules walked over the hill is what's caused it. It cuts to another place, and we see this woman being woken up by the alarms. Kind of humorously, she picks up her alarm clock and starts banging it, thinking it's the alarm, but it's not. Um, anyway, she is the judge for the silo, which is kind of just a false. Um, it's more honorary than anything else, or because Bernard controls everything. But she opens the door, and there's a guard there that says, to stay inside. Juliet didn't clean, which is a big panic for the people that are in charge. Because you see the result of it later on in the episode, in that the people in the lower levels in mechanical, where Jules has come from, her friend Shirley is there. You saw a bit of flashbacks for Jules in episode 1, and they introduced a young woman that Jules was talking to a lot. Well, this is the grown-up version, Shirley. But they're basically, for some reason, immediately everybody thinks that they want to get out. I guess if you're stuck in a silo for years, you might want to get out too. But unrest is starting to rear its ugly head, so Bernard has to put in a curfew, and he's going to have um, he's going to speak to the people, basically. But this woman in the room that wakes up and shakes her alarm clock has a bit of history with Bernard. She actually was his shadow. So every position in the silo, you have a main person, and then they create a shadow position. So somebody to take over the job if they get killed or die or grow old or retire or whatever. They assign somebody to be the shadow to learn the skill. And Jules even had one, a young guy, when she was in mechanical. So turns out that this woman, who's now the judge, was Bernard's shadow at one point in IT, which means she knows pretty much everything that he knows. And she eventually walked away from the job, which is probably why she walked away from it, is because she knows everything that he knows. Anyways, Bernard goes to her and appeals to her to help him because things are falling apart. And he's concerned, he tells her at least, he's concerned that Silo 18 may follow Silo 17, which is, look, he said at one point, it looks like the silo went to war with itself. Well, they really just don't want people going outside because they know, despite the fact that Jules lived, that if they go outside, they're all going to die, which is what happened on 17. They all left and died. Because the atmosphere is, um, I don't know it's how to describe it. I don't really want to, sorry, I'm just getting a cough candy. I don't really want to give too much away, but um, just to say the atmosphere is not safe for people to be unprotected people to be in the atmosphere outside the silos. And Bernard knows this, and they know why Jules um, survived because she swapped the tape, or they suspect that, and they know they can't reveal this to the people, or else the people will riot on them because they basically have killed a number of people over the years by giving them the crap tape. But anyways, um, he goes to this woman because she is the judge and has some semblance of respectability and trust for the people, and he talks to her about joining him in helping to, control the situation. So she actually agrees to help her on the condition of, she pulls out a copy of The Wizard of Oz and talks about the wizard and how he, at the end of the book, is able to fly away in a balloon. And she wants basically tells him to put some of the good tape aside, and she wants to escape. She wants to get out of there. So she agrees to help him if he will do that. Um, and he agrees to do that. Now, whether he follows through is something you'll have to see subsequent episodes for. But as part, just before this, um, he does a speech and lies his ass off and tells everybody how much Jules is a hero because she volunteered to go outside with some new experimental tape. He says she's dead, but she did prove that they can live longer outside the silos and that they'll keep working on better and better tape, which is absolute bullshit. But um, he uses judicial to hire some idiots that stand there and are just there to scream stuff out, a script basically, to support him in his thing. So besides that, besides his speech, he does have the sheriff's department go down and arrest the lady that Walker's her name, that Jules used to work with when she was a kid, and who was responsible for getting Jules the proper tape. She actually has a friend, a former girlfriend, up in Supply, and that woman is also arrested, who Walker told to switch the tape, and this friend switched the tape, and that's how Jules survived. So they arrest them, and the two women think they're going to be interrogated, but they simply put them in a shell, a cage, a cell, is what I'm trying to say, together, and they start talking about what they did, and basically tell IT everything they wanted to know, i.e., the woman from Supply was responsible for switching the tape, and she did it on because Walker asked her to. So then they simply let her go, or the two of them go at the end, which is kind of humorous. But yeah, they didn't need anything further from them. No need to interrogate or torture people or threaten people when they spill their guts to you on their own. So that is it. Where we're ending off at the end of episode 2 is rising unrest within the silo. The people want to know the truth. They think they can go outside because Jules went outside. And unfortunately, Bernard has done enough bad things to people, i.e., he's killed them, that he is not going to confess what the problem is or tell people the truth because he knows through his reading of that Bible, that pact that you see at the start of this episode 2, everything's explained in that book. So in the novels, everything they say that everything those books have just in case of this, do this. In case of this, do this, and it explains everything. So he knows what's out there. He knows what's going to potentially happen to these people. So this is the interesting part about Bernard's character. I mean, one thing is he shifts between you actually start feeling some sympathy for the guy, and then he does something really scummy. So you can't determine whether you want to beat him up or give him a hug, kind of thing. But it's well played. Um, so again, his character is, even though he's more of a like he's is a very smart IT person, which means he has no uh doesn't really fit in with people and stuff like that, but he is trying, and sorry, this is a bit of a spoiler, but I think you may sort of realize it. But some of the things he does, he thinks is for the benefit of the people in the silo, and it'll be up to you and I to determine if, in fact, what he's doing is worthwhile. You can see one thing you can see here, lies on the screen.
As the
That
one we
was,
spent the first season in.
oops. Basically, that was why the people in the first silo, they thought they were being lied to, and that's why they went outside. This is the guy that is in silo 17 with Jules. This is the beginning of the outrage or the unrest in silo 18 because Jules walked away. Um, this is just a YouTube video of giving some highlights of stuff. Um, so again, they're trying to. This is from episode 1, but um, the people are unrest is spreading. Here's Bernard giving his speech about the new tape and stuff, and this is him watching Jules and seeing what she saw, i.e., all the dead bodies, which then only reinforces to him that he's actually doing the right thing because all these people died. And then this is him. These are the people trying to organize to overthrow the government, and this is Bernard trying to. This woman is the judge that that used to be his secondary or his shadow, and he's trying to get her to help him. And this guy is trying to calm the people down because he has an idea, I guess, that what's going to happen if people go nuts. And this is Walker, who asked for the tape, and the other lady was in Supply, and she provided the tape. But they're trying to calm the people down because there is a few people shouting about going outside, and Walker pulls out a fire hose and soaks him down to kind of cool him down and says, "Get back to work," which they all do. But this is the crisis point in episode 2, and you're going to see as they go on, it's just going to get worse and worse. The sheriff here, the current sheriff, he's still trying to investigate and honestly find out what's going on. Um, but he's being held back at every curve by judicial and by Bernard and IT. So again, good episode. Um, No Jules in this episode at all. It's more the reaction or the result of her leaving and going over the hill, and what effect it's having on Silo 18 that she left. This is a symbol that people are starting to paint on the walls, which is Jules lives or Juliet lives. And it's the people who are pushing to find out what's going on and stirring the unrest that are putting this out. So once again, good episode. Enjoyed it. Um,